Hello, everyone in third grade. It's Mr. Renner, and I have to sit at kind of a funny angle because it is such a nice day. Can you see how bright it is on the side of my head here? Just look at what a nice day it is outside. I hope you get to go outside a little bit um, for either for recess or at lunchtime or after school is over. Just get outside and play a little bit because it is super nice out. But anyway, we have a reading lesson to do, so we're going to get started with a reading lesson and some vocabulary, okay? Let's go. So here we are on, let me see, actually, I forgot. It's page 438. So go ahead and get your source book out and turn to page 438. And a lot of our lessons are about how rules are made and how laws are made. And this is a fun story that has one way of making rules in it. And I want to see if you can find out how this group of animals solves problems and makes rules to keep everybody safe and able to live together. Okay, this is called Why the Opossum's Tail is Bare. And the opossum is this animal. And if you've ever seen the opossum, it has a long, skinny tail, kind of like a mouse that doesn't have any hair on it. And this is a folk tale that's going to make up a story about why. It's not true. It is a folk tale, which is a story people told themselves for a couple reasons. First of all, they're going to try and explain why the tail doesn't have any hair on it. It looks like a mouse tail or a rat's big tail. But also, they like to tell stories, sometimes just to pass the time, to make it fun. When you're doing something boring, like a lot of chopping or a lot of making food or a lot of sewing, people used to tell stories to pass the time before they had TV. And also to give people lessons about how they're supposed to act and how they're supposed to behave. Let's see if we can find out what the lesson here is and what what do the animals do to solve problems. Okay, why the opossum's tail is bare. Long ago, animals of the forest were organized into tribes. They elected chiefs, judges, and other officials. Animal councils made the laws. They would meet to solve problems and make decisions. Back then, opossum had a long, bushy tail. It was silky and covered with black fur, just like it shows here. Oh, beautiful tail, so silky, so smooth, and so long. I love you so much that I'll sing you a song, sang Opossum to his tail. I'm sick of listening to a possum sing about his tail, Rabbit said to the cricket. It's a bother, Cricket agreed. Enough is enough, Rabbit cried. Let's teach him a lesson. On the next page, 439, Rabbit handed Opossum a special invitation to the next council meeting. I'll come, said Opossum, but I must sit where everyone can see my tail. Okay, said Rabbit. I'll even ask Cricket to groom your tail. Groom is a fancy word that basically means brush and style it. At the next council meeting, Cricket hopped over to Opossum's place. Cricket began combing Opossum's tail. Soon, Opossum fell asleep. Has that ever happened to you? I have a connection because whenever somebody, especially my mom when I was little, would rub my back and just kind of scratch my back, and I would always fall asleep. And then she would have to get up and move me, and I would wake up and I would be mad. But she was like, "Don't fall asleep on my lap." Soon Opossum fell asleep. When Cricket finished, he wrapped the tail in a ribbon. He woke up Opossum. This will keep your tail clean, Cricket said to Opossum. Don't take it off. After the council meeting, the dancing started. Opossum shook off the ribbon. The other animals began laughing. Opossum looked down and saw a bald, scaly tail. He was so shocked that he fell over and lay very still. To this day, opossums act shocked when they're surprised. I don't know if you have ever seen an opossum in real life. Usually they're in zoos, but there are some around, and they fall over and pretend that they're dead whenever something scary shows up. Um, so first of all, there's a couple things here. What lesson do they try and teach you with this story? Again, people used to tell stories to pass the time and to have some fun, but also to try and teach people things, especially little kids. They would try and teach little kids things with stories. The opossum maybe didn't deserve to have all of his hair plucked out of his tail, but look at this right here. Oh, beautiful tail, so silky, so smooth, and so long. I love you so much, I'll sing you a song, he said, and he's doing it so everybody can hear. And the rabbit and the cricket are getting a little sick of hearing the rabbit or hearing the opossum talk about his tail. And then finally, "Oh, come," said Opossum, "but I must sit where everyone can see my tail." I don't know about you, but a lot of people don't like it when somebody brags a lot or when somebody talks about themselves a lot. It's usually better to make friends and to get along with people if you let other people talk and you don't show off a lot. And the opossum was showing off a lot. So this, I think, was one way of getting of teaching people that it's not a smart idea to show off. You're going to make people angry. And finally, I asked you to pay attention to what this group did to make rules and to make laws. And it says right at the beginning, long ago, animals of the forest were organized into tribes, which are like big families. They elected a chief, a judge, and other officials, and then they had animal councils to make laws, which is when everybody would get together in a meeting. This is how they did it. And this is actually, I said this is a folk tale. It is actually a Cherokee tale, which is a group of Native Americans from the east part of the United States. This is how they organized their government. This is how they made their laws. They were all organized into tribes. A lot of Native Americans were organized into tribes, and the Cherokee would then elect a chief, a judge, and other officials and put all of the rules in a council. So that we learned a couple things with this one, right? All right, before we go, it is time for vocabulary. Yep, and of course, our vocabulary is also about, let me move this out of the way, is also about meetings and making rules and laws. The first word is representation, which is the creation that stands for something else. So it's usually some other kind of drawing, but sometimes it's also um, like a model of itself, but it stands for something else. So sometimes we look at a map that is a representation of the land that's around us. It's not the real thing. Legal is something that is allowed by the law. You probably know the word illegal. That is the opposite. There's a prefix in front of it. Illegal means the opposite, not legal. A debate, and here is a debate from 2012. That's President Obama, and this man was running for president against him. A debate is when people take different sides on something or have different opinions and then talk about it. Granting. Granting is allowing or giving permission for something. So it might be, we don't usually use it this way. Granting is often about the government, but you could say that we are granting you a Chromebook to take home to do your work, something like that. And finally, officials. Officials are people who are elected and have power in the government to make decisions for other people. Mayors are officials of their towns. The president and senators are officials in the national government. So these are our 5 vocabulary words: representation, legal, debate, granting, and officials. All right, I'll see you all later. Have a great day, everybody.